Just look at this particular picture clearly. We know it's the Supreme Court of our country. And we also know that the major decisions in our country are taken by this court. Yes, first of all, if there are any disputes, people will go to the low-level courts, lower courts. Then finally, people, if the disputes are not settled, the case will finally go to the higher courts. And even in the high courts, if the cases are not settled, we can see that majority, the major disputes will finally go to the Supreme Court of our country. Right? Now imagine the issues that are taking place regarding environment. What do you feel? Whether environmental cases are taken up by the Supreme Court, any kind of major disputes, because every now and then we see that different kind of, maybe in a place which was purely full of ecology, full of environment, you can see there will be some industrialists that will come. They will try to set up some kind of industries. If they set up industries, there will be pollution, and in this way you can see the local people, sometimes the local people, or sometimes certain NGOs or certain environmentalists, they try to protest, they try to make some protest in this kind of situations, and they give cases regarding this environmental degradation. Now, what do you think? If the case is major, or if for those kind of cases, does the Supreme Court plays a role? Do you feel so? Whether Supreme Court takes this kind of cases or not? So for that, we mainly have a court, which we call it as, if you think about environmental disputes, generally, I'm talking, okay, generally they are not handled by the normal courts. Okay, the environmental disputes, they are generally not handled by this kind of courts. If you see, who handles them? It's the National Green Tribunal. As the name itself says, Green Tribunal, green, that is something related to the environment. So in simple terms, you can consider that National Green Tribunal, or NGT, it's a kind of environmental court. Is it clear? Have you understood who will try to solve the disputes regarding environment? If there is any complaints regarding the degradation of the environment, if you want to lodge any complaint, you need to lodge it under the NGT. It's the National Green Tribunal. So how National Green Tribunal was formed? So just look at this. This is the NGT Tribunal. Yes, it's a tribunal which was established in 2010 and under an act. For the formation of this Green Tribunal, India is the third country in the world to form its Green Tribunal after Australia and New Zealand. Yes, after New Zealand and Australia, initially these kind of Green Tribunal, that means certain kind of courts which will only try to set up the cases for environmental disputes. It's New Zealand, it's Australia, then India who came into such kind of event, and there was an act in the year 2010 that's called as the National Green Tribunal Act. Okay, under this National Green Tribunal Act, we have set up a Green Tribunal. You can consider it as an environmental court, and it has 5 major zones. Okay, the North Zone, the Central Zone, the East Zone, South Zone, and the West Zone. North, South, East, West, automatically 4 comes. And in the middle we have is the Central Zone, right? And among all this zone, the main branch, the principal zone, if you see, the main zone is the North Zone, and where it's present, the headquarters are in Delhi. Okay, so why this came into news? There is a hill in Tamil Nadu, not in Tamil Nadu, in Vishakhapatnam, that Rushikonda Hills in Vishakhapatnam. Okay, so regarding this Rushikonda Hills in Vishakhapatnam, there were certain constructions were being imposed. So these people, they actually came and they tried to oppose this kind of construction, and for that, this NGT, the National Green Tribunal, also stand for the people. They took a stand for the people, saying that, see, environmental degradation is not at all, we will not accept this kind of degradation. So it's better if you try to put up your industries in some other places. But for whatever, for certain reason, now the conflicts are increasing. Even the NGT, the National Green Tribunal, those industrialists, they are not trying to follow the NGT, and for that purpose this case is now, it has gone to the Supreme Court of our country. Usually, this is the important part, usually if you see this kind of cases, environmental cases, never goes to those other courts. It's always the main NGT that tries to handle the situations related to environmental degradation. But this time, those people who are trying to set up the industries, they are not trying to obey the rules and regulations that have been said by the NGT, and therefore now the cases have gone up to the Supreme Court of our country as well, right? So this was all those kind of things, cases, regarding those cases. As of now, you don't have to remember, you just need to know the importance of NGT.